The 2025 NBA draft first round just ended, and I have a few opinions. I have a few winners and a few losers, and I want to talk about both sides. If your team isn't on one of these sides, that doesn't mean I'm against it or anything. That just means I think you had an okay draft. I think you had a pretty good draft, but I don't think it's like worth talking about because you only drafted one guy, things like that. And this is just for the first round, obviously. So that's what I want to talk about, and I'm sorry if you disagree with my opinion on any of these guys, but I can't change it, and that's just the opinion I'm going to go with. And if I may direct you to last year's video about the 2024 draft first round winners and losers, I would like to point out that I was completely correct on literally everything in that video. So go back to there if you want any credibility on my part. But without further ado, without warming on, let's get right into this video. So to start off, we're going to be talking about the winners of the first round. And the first winner we have is going to be the San Antonio Spurs. Now, these teams aren't in any order, but I do think that the San Antonio Spurs probably had the best first round out of any team. First, you were able to get Dylan Harper second overall, who I think is an absolute stud, is going to be a star-level player, a great fit alongside Wembanyama, just an absolute beast of a player. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he ended up winning Rookie of the Year or something. The kid's going to be nasty. Like, I understand the concern with them having Fox, Castle, Chris Paul, all these other players on the roster already, but you don't pass up on Dylan Harper. The kid's a stud, and just straight up, you have to pick him right here, and the kid's a beast, so he's going to help a lot. But the biggest reason that why I have them as a winner is because 14th overall, they went and got Carter Bryant. Now, if you don't know who Carter Bryant is, he is a Spur through and through. The kid is a lockdown defender. He can guard 1 through 4 easily. The perimeter, the paint, he's strong enough, he's athletic enough to guard all those positions, and he is a jump shot away from being a problem on both sides of the ball. And as he develops that three-point shot, and as he gets more comfortable on the offensive side of the ball, this two-way potential of a duo of Wembanyama and Carter Bryant is gonna be nuts. And put on top of the fact that you have Sohan and Devin Vassell also starting on this team, the defense, the two-way potential of this entire roster really is pretty insane. Like, this team is probably gonna be one of the best defensive teams in the entire league for a very, very long time. And then the second winner I want to talk about is going to be the Washington Wizards. Now, the Washington Wizards selected first Trey Johnson, 6th overall. Now, Trey Johnson with Ace Bailey and all the main guys off the board, like all the super high flashy names off the board, I think Trey Johnson was the next best pick. I think Trey Johnson legitimately has star potential and is going to be a great player for them, even if he doesn't turn into a potential star. He's a great Jordan Poole replacement. He can shoot very efficiently. He can score from all 3 levels of the floor. He has good size, and he's just that kind of spark plug that Jordan Poole was for them last year, and he's going to be able to replace that very easily while also being younger and much cheaper as well. So I think this was a great fit for them, a great pick for them, and they probably picked the best guy available at the time as well. And then at pick 21, they also picked Will Riley, and Will Riley is one of my more kind of slept on prospects. He has very good size, he can score, he's very offensively talented, and he has a lot of two-way potential as well. And I think Will Riley could really work out for them. And combine that with the fact that I think he's going to fit very well with Alex Sarr in last year's draft class, and they're going to be able to get mentored by all the veterans on the roster. I think this draft is going to go a very long way, and I know the Wizards winning a draft is not very common, but I think they did very good in the first round of this one, and I think it is worth noting, and I think they got 2 very solid players. And then my last winner for this class is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I know it's a little weird to have them on here because they only picked 1 player. But the Thunder were able to get Thomas Sorber. Now, by the way, I'm not even a Sorber fanboy. They got some people who love Sorber, thought he was a top 10 player. I'm not one of those people, but he fits this team so unbelievably perfectly that I just had to put them there. Sorber is a monster for this team as far as fit-wise. He's a great backup big. He's going to be able to develop behind Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, and when Hartenstein ultimately does leave them in a few years because they're not going to be able to pay everybody, he's going to be able to replace him perfectly. They have a long-term plan in place already. He's a great developmental guy. He's already a very good defender and a very solid rebounder as well. Offensively, he does have some skills. He has a good turnaround game. He has a pretty solid mid-range game as well, and there's no telling if he can even add a three-pointer or not as well. And I just think he fits this team perfectly for what they need it for now and in the future, and I just think you couldn't have asked for a much better pick here if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then you add on to the top of the fact that pick number 24, although they didn't make a pick with it, they still traded that for either a future first round in 2027 or 2 future seconds. So the rich get even richer, and they're getting even more picks on top of that. And the reason they did this is because if they made a pick here, they were going to have to cut somebody from the roster they currently have, because first round contracts are guaranteed no matter what. So you would have had to cut somebody from the roster, so they just traded the pick, and I have no problem with that at all. So with them getting extra pick draft capital for the future, on top of them getting the one thing they absolutely needed, and it's the one slight weakness they had on this roster, and they just filled it, I think this team is set up extremely beautifully for trying to go back-to-back going into next season. But now for the more negative side of the video, we are going to be going to the losers of the first round. And my first loser is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans. And this is for only one thing. Jeremiah Fears, I like. Jeremiah Fears, I have no problem with. I think he's a solid pick. He makes sense. Long-term and short-term, he makes sense. He's a good player. He's probably going to be a solid player for them. I have no problem with Jeremiah Fears at 7th overall. Where the problem becomes is the fact that they used an unprotected next year's first round pick from themselves to move up 10 spots with Atlanta to draft Derek Queen. Now there's problems with this all everywhere, so let's just break it down. Derek Queen is a low ceiling guy who doesn't fit on this roster at all. The Pelicans' best player is Zion Williamson, one of the most dominant paint presences in the league. And their center is Yves Missy, a guy who can't even think about shooting anything over 4 feet away from the basket, okay? Like, he has no offensive skill outside of dunking the ball. And now you add Derek Queen, a guy who shot 20% from 3 last year, didn't attempt a lot of threes, has really no, soon timetable to develop a 3, who very much needs his back to the basket to score. And he's not a great athlete, he's not a great dribbler, and he's not an amazing defender either. So why would you trade a probably going to be valuable pick from either Milwaukee collapsing or the Pelicans having a lot of injuries again? Neither one of these are by any stretch of the imagination out of the realm of possibility next year, and giving that away for Derek Queen, it makes no sense. He doesn't fit with the team, his ceiling isn't high, and now you have no picks going into next year for a team that has experienced unbelievable injury issues in the past, and just this season that just passed. It makes absolutely zero sense. That was an awful trade. I don't like the pick. I think they could have got someone just as valuable at 23 if they would have just stayed pat. Plus, they would have kept their 2026. I hate the whole move. I hate the pick. I hate the move. Everything about it was terrible, and that was enough to put them on the losers for me. And then my second loser of this video is going to be the Phoenix Suns. And the Phoenix Suns is once again a kind of circumstance thing. If they would have just picked Kaman Malott, even though I am much lower on him than most people, I wouldn't have put him on the losers because it's one player, whatever. But when you take into the fact that the Suns also traded for Mark Williams in the middle of this draft, now it makes zero sense, because Kaman Malott is going to be your bench player. You're not starting Mark Williams and Kaman at the same time. Kaman's going to come off the bench because he's not better than Mark Williams, so it's going to stunt his growth. He's already a low-ceiling guy. This really helps you in no way. Kaman's a guy that you pick if you're a contender, and there is by no stretch of the imagination of the Suns contenders going into next year, so why the hell did they do this when you already knew you were trading for Mark Williams as well? It makes absolutely zero sense what they're doing. They have nothing but shooting guards and centers on this roster. They're one of the most poorly built rosters in the NBA right now. Free Devin Booker, because my God, are the Suns heading for a disaster season right now with how things are looking. And I just think overall, terrible move, terrible idea to try to stack Mark Williams and Kaman together. It makes no sense. And the front office of the Suns needs to be completely cleared out, because what the hell are they even trying to do right now with this roster? And then the last loser is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves for selecting Juwan Behringer 17th overall. Okay, this kid had no business being drafted, much less being drafted 17th overall to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Go watch the kid play. His numbers are not good from overseas. He can only dunk the ball. He's a solid rebounder. I can say that about him, but the kid can do nothing else. He can't shoot. He really can't do anything but dunk. He's with the Timberwolves, and he's never going to play. Like, the Timberwolves historically don't play their young players much. Leonard Miller has been a great player in the G League ever since they had him, and he has never sniffed the floor for the Minnesota Timberwolves in significant minutes or stretches. Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr., both very good rookies, didn't really sniff the floor significantly in their rookie year. And do you think I'm to expect a project player in Jawan Berringer is ever going to see the floor when they have Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle and Naz Reid ahead of him? Absolutely not. Terrible pick. Absolute waste of a pick. They're never going to play him. He is so far from being ready to be an NBA player as well. It makes no sense. This is probably the worst pick of the entire first round, and it's just atrocious all around, okay? Hate the pick. Absolutely. But unfortunately, guys, that's coming for this video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think anyone else won? Do you think anyone else lost? What are your thoughts in the comment section below? If you'd like to point to the button and subscribe button to me, episode road to me, and hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.